Did Trump's China trade deal actually help America, or was it a big mistake? Let's break it down and find out what really happened. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tala Talks Money. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all things finance and business. Today we're diving into the China trade deal under Trump. Was it a major win for the US, or did it cause more problems than it solved? The deal was signed in January 2020, and it was a huge deal at the time. It marked the end of the trade war between the US and China that had been going on for almost 2 years. But was it really a win for the US, or did it come with some hidden costs? Let's first talk about what was in the deal. The trade agreement had two main parts. The first part focused on China buying more American goods, things like agriculture products, energy, and manufactured goods. The deal promised that China would purchase an additional $200 billion worth of US goods over the next 2 years. That sounds pretty good, right? After all, the US was struggling with a trade deficit with China, and this deal promised to cut that deficit down by a significant amount. But here's the catch. While the deal promised more purchases, it didn't really address some of the core issues in the US-China trade relationship. For example, the deal didn't make China stop stealing intellectual property from US companies or forcing companies to hand over technology to do business in China. These issues have been a big concern for American businesses for years, but this deal didn't fix them. Now, on the flip side, the deal also removed some tariffs that Trump had placed on Chinese goods. But these tariffs were still pretty high compared to where they were before the trade war started. Yes, it was a relief for some companies to see those tariffs go away, but it didn't mean everything went back to normal. US businesses were still paying tariffs on a lot of products, and that meant higher prices for consumers. So while some businesses were happy about the deal, others weren't convinced. For example, farmers were hopeful because China promised to buy a lot more agricultural products. But even then, China didn't always follow through on these promises. Many farmers were left disappointed, especially when China didn't hit its purchase targets in the following years. And let's not forget about the bigger picture. The whole trade war had already caused damage. It wasn't just about tariffs. The trade war also made businesses uncertain, and uncertainty is never good for the economy. A lot of companies had to deal with supply chain disruptions and higher production costs, which meant slower growth and more challenges for businesses across the US. On top of that, there were concerns that China wasn't going to fully implement the terms of the deal. The US trade representatives even warned that they might slap more tariffs back on China if China didn't hold up its end of the bargain. And guess what? Some of those concerns turned out to be true. China didn't always meet its purchase targets, which caused more tension between the two countries. So, was this deal a win for the US? It's a mixed bag. Yes, it helped some industries like agriculture and energy by giving them access to the Chinese market, but for many US businesses, the tariffs remained a burden. And the deal didn't fix some of the more serious issues in the US-China trade relationship. Plus, some experts argued that the whole trade war itself was a major economic drag that hurt more than it helped. When you look at it from a broader perspective, it's clear that the trade war didn't have the kind of economic payoff that many people expected. Yes, some companies and industries benefited from the deal, but the overall picture is a little more complicated. In the end, Trump's China trade deal didn't lead to the economic boom that many had predicted, and it didn't resolve some of the long-term issues between the US and China. The truth is, the US-China relationship is complex. It's not just about trade deals and tariffs, it's about intellectual property, technology, security, and global influence. And while Trump's trade deal may have temporarily improved some things, it didn't change the bigger picture of US-China tensions. So, was the China trade deal a big win or a major mistake? It really depends on how you look at it. If you're in certain industries that benefited, then yes, it's a win. But for the larger economy and many businesses, the trade war left a lot of scars that weren't healed by the deal. What do you think? Was the China trade deal a success, or did it fall short? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.